the excitement, all of the things that Kamala Harris was able to accomplish in her short campaign window did not reflect the numbers we saw on election night. The math ain't mathing. Here we are 1 week after the election where 45 allegedly won. And I'm saying allegedly because something feels a little off. And I know I'm not alone in thinking that. What originally got me to feeling like something might be a little janky going on was the day prior to the election. On the Monday before, November 4th, 45 was doing an interview with somebody, and they was asking him about the previous election and if he would be open to accepting the election results this go round if they were to not go in his favor. And unlike previous times when 45 was asked this question, whether it was at the debate or just various interviews, he always put out there the election is always rigged or the Democrats be cheating, etc. And he never really trusts the election results. We see what happened during the last election. But on the Monday prior to this year's election, he was speaking in a different tone. It was more calm, it was more relaxed, and he was just like, I would accept it. He's like, as long as it's fair, he said, so far it seems like it's going fair. And it was something about the way he said it. It kind of like stood out to me. And I was like, I don't know, you're a little too calm for me the day before an election. It's almost as if he already knew he had it in the bag. But I was just looking at that with the side eye. And now come election day, we see what happened. For 45 to win every single swing state is a little funny style to me, especially when on many of the states, the Democrats won down the ballot, yet Kamala lost at the top of the ticket. And with those margins, it's as if someone voted for Trump at the top and then voted for Democrat down the ballot. That just doesn't happen like that. And historically, Republicans generally will vote president, and 87%, 80-something percent of them will vote down the ballot. Meanwhile, Democrats historically, like 30% of Democrats would do full down the ballot. So historically, more Republicans will vote down the ballot than Democrats. But in this scenario, it seems as if the Democrats just voted down the ballot and didn't vote for Kamala. And that's just unheard of. So for Trump to win all of these states, but lose down the ballot, the math ain't mathing. Something is off, definitely. And aside from that, in some of the swing states, the margins in which they're claiming he won are not that great. 30,000 votes in Wisconsin, 80,000 votes in Michigan, 45,000 votes in Nevada. The margins are just a little too close to just feel like he just got it in the bag. And then when you look on social media, you see several people who are saying that their votes wasn't counted. They're checking the Board of Elections and their vote is showing as if they didn't vote at all. I'm seeing far too many videos like that. And a lot of them are in these swing states. So it's understandable for people like myself and like many others to want a recount, a hand recount of every ballot. I think it's only right. I think it's only fair so that we can officially put it to rest and find out exactly if what we were shown on election night and the days following is accurate to what the people actually voted. Not only did Trump win all 7 swing states, he actually won the popular vote by 3.5 million. Trump isn't that liked. I don't care what anyone says, he's not that liked. And even for the people who feel Kamala isn't that liked, Kamala is so unliked. In her 107-day campaign, she raised over $1 billion. That's how unliked she is. To have record support from Republican affiliates, unheard of. So many Republicans voted for the first time for a Democratic candidate. So unlike that, first off, fast shouts to Win with Black Women. They started this movement where they created this Zoom call with all Black women, and they raised a record number of funds. And with that, they inspired white women for Harris. They inspired white men for Harris. They inspired Black men for Harris. And all of these groups got on individual Zoom calls and raised funds for Kamala. The white women for Harris broke Zoom server. It was the most amount of people on Zoom at one time, and they raised a record number of money. That's how unliked Kamala Harris is. The momentum, the excitement, all of the things that Kamala Harris was able to accomplish in her short campaign window did not reflect the numbers we saw on election night. The math ain't mathing. Now, to have a Zoom call with a record number of women raising a record number of money, and for when you look at the demographics of white women, it shows only 30-something% of white women voted for Kamala Harris. Now, it's like, I don't know if all of that momentum and all of that energy I saw coming from white women, that would translate to only 30-something%. So it's either the math ain't mathing, or some of them is the new OJs. They smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. The backstabbers. Backstabbers. If you telling me, despite all the momentum and the energy, still went into that booth and voted for Trump, I don't know. I'm not believing that. I'm not believing that. And I'm not believing that 30-something%, especially when you got so many people who are saying their votes wasn't counted, is enough that I feel could make up the margins and make it make a little more sense. I'm not saying that Kamala Harris just had it and she was about to blow Trump out of the water, but for him to win the popular vote by 3.5 million and for him to win all of the swing states, something's off. Kamala Harris outraised Trump. Trump's campaign only raised like 300 and something million. Kamala Harris campaign raised over $1 billion. And I mean, to be fair, Trump campaign doesn't necessarily have to raise money when they have someone like Elon Musk in their pocket, someone who has the means and the resources and owns a whole platform where he can spew misinformation and get it out there in a crazy pace. Elon Musk spent the last couple weeks intentionally spreading misinformation, intentionally putting millions of dollars into misinformation. Joe Rogan was talking about an app that Elon Musk created where he knew the election results 4 hours before they were called for anywhere else. Elon Musk, this tech nerd who creates all of these technological advanced things, I feel has the power to also interfere with the election. If you could create an app where you could see that Trump won 4 hours before everyone else, you can also use those same codings and things to change things within the election. I feel it's very possible. And I imagine he's smart enough to not do it sloppily, to not do it where it's so obvious. So it could be where it just didn't count certain votes. Pending what your ballot said, it could be where it just eliminated it. It could even be where it flipped people's votes. That's possible. In Michigan alone, one of the swing states, thousands of initial votes weren't counted. According to Detroit News, the initial election results in Michigan's Calhoun County didn't include all of the votes casted there. The reporting problem centered on absentee ballots that were submitted in the city of Battle Creek, said Angela Banninder. She's a spokeswoman for Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. The city used 2 high-speed absentee ballot tabulators, but the election management system in the county wasn't programmed to combine the drives from the 2 tabulators. So according to Benson's office, after reading the first set of numbers, it replaced the first result with the second set instead of adding them together like it was supposed to. And when I read things like that, it's further fueling the need for a recount. John Pavlovitz, he's an author And he tweeted out something that I thought was very interesting. He said, here's the deal. In 2020, well before election day, MAGAs were crying rigged election. Immediately following the election, Republicans brought 60 plus election integrity court cases, requested hand recounts, and despite no election fraud discovered, they still rioted at the Capitol and have spent 4 years perpetrating a stolen election lie. Here we are. We're just days after this election, when you have Donald Trump spoke several times in recent months about already having the votes. Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, two men with more technology available to them than anyone, have been working alongside Trump and the Russian government. There were dozens of bomb threats that were sent out by Russia on election day, causing shutdowns and delays. 5 swing states showed results of Dems winning down the ballot, and yet Trump won the presidency. That's in a nearly impossible split ticket scenario. He said, in an election as pivotal and democracy altering as this one, the Democratic Party owes the American people to fight passionately to ensure the results were fair. It is reasonable to request to do a hand recount of at least one of the key swing states just to make sure that the results match the election day reports and to ensure the voting machines' codes were not tampered with. He said, we won't be the other side shouting rigged election despite having no proof, and we won't content that Trump cheated if an investigation refutes that. He said, but Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and tens of millions who voted blue deserve the smallest efforts to ensure that the numbers are correct. And I agree. At the end of the day, all we want is for it to be fair and accurate. And it's not unheard of to request a recount of the votes. Like, let's just see. Let's just really make sure that the math is mathing the way it's supposed to. They did it in 2020, and it was revealed that there were no interference, and yet they still stormed the Capitol and all of the things. We're not trying to do all of that. We just want a recount. If with the recount, the hand recount, and it's determined that what we saw on election night is what it is, and he really won all 7 swing states and really got 3.5 million more votes in general for the popular vote, hey, it is what it is. We'll have to accept it. But I feel like we need to at least investigate it, because there's too many claims of people saying that their votes hasn't been counted, and they're checking the Board of Elections website. I think it's only right. Part of my what blows mine for this week, I'm gonna tie it in right now, is the Democrats always want to take the high road in all of these instances. So immediately after the results were called, you have Kamala Harris making a phone call to Trump, congratulating him on his win. You got Biden calling him, congratulating him on his win. Very democratic, telling him that they're gonna, make sure there's a smooth transition, etc. But I need y'all to exit that high road at the next exit and at least just hear the people. Y'all have been crying for months about how Trump is a threat to democracy. And yet y'all are willing to just lay it down without even as much as a question. It's like, is he a threat or is he not a threat? Someone tweeted out, they said, demanding recounts and forensics in an election against a convicted felon is perfectly effing reasonable. And the people ostracizing those looking for that are the exact don't rock the boat Democrats that allow for King Trump. Someone else tweeted out at POTUS, they said, this is not about a smooth transition. This is a matter of national security. You have an obligation and a sworn duty to faithfully execute the office of President of the United States. There is nothing about passing the office over to a man who from intelligence briefings is actively working with Vladimir Putin to destroy this country. That is faithfully executing the office of the President of the United States. Nothing. That is as un-American and unpresidential as it gets. Someone else said, to Kamala Harris, Walls, and all the Democrats that sent me hundreds of texts/emails asking me to favor them by contributing to their campaigns. Now do me a favor, demand an investigation into Musk, Russian operatives, and Republican election interference, and hand recount every ballot. I agree. Kamala Harris ran arguably a flawless campaign. Probably a little too perfect, and that probably harmed her a little bit because you can't please everyone, and you're trying to reach to everybody and please everybody and doing everything right and perfect and political and not trying to say the wrong things and all of that. Like, the bottom line is we want a recount of the votes. That's all we want. I need an investigation to happen before the electors vote on December 17th. Prove to us that what we saw on election night is actually accurate. That's it. Can we get that? Can we do that? I think y'all owe it to the American people to do that. But yeah, we'll see. Thank you for watching. If you rock with your boy, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, it's called Holliewood and Friends, which means I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the topics I just discussed. I appreciate you. New episodes every Monday night. Until next time, deuces.